Level 1. $0. The mower dies halfway across the biggest lawn in Crestwood Hills, out of gas. Gas money was lunch money this week. You're 16. You cut grass for $40 a lawn. In 30 years, you will own more American dirt than any man alive. You push a dead mower across a half-striped lawn, so it looks like part of the job. Somebody's filming. Marcus, the owner's son, your age, narrates from the porch. Lawn kids thing just died. Dad, do we still have to pay full price? His dad doesn't look up. Pay him half. Finish or don't. Half is $20. 2 days of eating. You finish with the ancient push mower from their garage, a museum piece. Marcus posts the video. You ask for the bathroom. Marcus opens the door 6 inches. The help doesn't come inside. While you finish the edges, you see the thing you can't unsee. Nobody in Crestwood Hills works. They're home on a Tuesday, and they only get richer. The lawn pays them, the land pays them. Money here isn't a wage, it's a crop. You're already writing the comeback speech in your head. You'll carry it half your life. You'll never give it. You take the 20. On the way out, you take one thing from their garage trash pile. You'll keep it forever. What did you take? Level 2. $1,000. The thing from the trash pile lies face down on a workbench in your grandfather's garage. His name is Vern, retired brick mason, 63. Duct tape on everything he loves. Vern flips the frame over and wipes the glass with his sleeve. It's a deed. The original paper to the land under the elms, dated 1911. Wax seal. A dead man's signature. The family threw it out with a broken toaster. Vern reads it twice and goes quiet. Then he puts his boots on. Vern walks you through Crestwood Hills at dusk, past the houses with names on brass plaques. You point at lawns you mow. Vern doesn't look at lawns. He looks at property lines, at slopes, at which way the water runs. At the end of the street, Vern turns around. Walk it again. You walk it again. The second time through, you stop seeing grass. You start seeing land. Back at the workbench, Vern hands you the frame like it's a diploma. That deed has already outlived 3 owners. Paper outlives people. One day, no man in America will hold more of it than you. You hang it over your bed. You're 16, and you own a framed piece of trash. It changes how you see every house on that hill. Monday, the Elms cuts their lawn service to every other week. Rich people never say the word broke. The hedge says it for them. They hire the cheap kid to fill the gap. You, $60 a week now, mowing for the boy who posted the video. Marcus watches TV through the window while you edge his walk. You wave. Marcus doesn't. Here's the first rule you steal from that hill. Your house runs Friday to Friday. Mom's math is groceries against a paycheck. The houses with names run decade to decade. You can't afford a decade yet. Your horizon is 1 season long, so you start there. In October, a family 2 streets over sells perfect things in their driveway because summer is finished. $30 buys you a second mower that ran maybe 9 times. Every other kid buys equipment in May at full price. You just bought yours at the bottom. At school, classmates turn 16 and finance cars. You lock a bike to the rack with a $12 cable. Somebody laughs in the parking lot. Laughing is free. So is the bike. At the workbench, Vern patches your split work gloves with duct tape. He doesn't offer to buy you new ones. That's the gift. In November, you bid on snow. Every kid in town wants $20 a driveway. You offer whole winter contracts at a price that makes the neighbors feel smart. 11 driveways sign. The money comes when it snows, or it doesn't come at all. The $1,000 in your account is not spending money. It's seed. You've stopped spending like a kid with cash. You've started planting like a family with land. Now you need it to snow. Level 3. $10,000. The snow starts in January and doesn't stop for 6 days. You're out at 4 in the morning with a shovel and a headlamp, clearing driveways in Crestwood Hills while the town sleeps. 11 contracts, all signed in November, all paid by spring. At the end of one driveway, you do the math with numb hands. One storm just tripled your summer. By February, you can't keep up alone, so you hire Travis. Best friend since 4th grade, built like a vending machine, allergic to alarm clocks. You pay Travis by the driveway, in cash, and you cover the gas. In March, there's an estate sale at a stone house in Crestwood. The owner died, and his family is selling the garage down to the nails. Inside the garage, shovels, edgers, a commercial mower, all older than you, all perfect. You get the whole lot for $70. The widow watches you load Travis's truck. She says her husband bought that mower the year the church got its steeple. He hated buying anything twice. You'll carry that sentence for the rest of your life. Cheap men pay retail forever. Old money buys once. You just learned the rule you'll still be keeping when your land stops fitting on one map. Vern comes by the truck and tests the estate tools with his thumbs, Mason style. Vern nods. From Vern, a nod is a parade. In April, you go after the work kids can't get, the church lot, the funeral home lawn. You show up in an ironed shirt with one typed page, prices, dates, a phone number. The funeral director signs without haggling. Boring wins money. Nobody tells teenagers that. Then Travis almost quits. Travis wants crew hoodies with a logo and rims for the truck, something that looks like winning. It's $140. You fight about it in the truck outside the church lot until Travis goes quiet and stares out the window. Your best friend is now also your payroll. Nobody warns you about that part. You buy the hoodies out of your own pocket. The truck stays ugly. Travis stays. In August, outside the hardware store, a notice is stapled to the pole. County tax auction. When an owner stops paying property taxes, the county takes the building and sells it for what's owed. On the list, the condemned lot behind the hardware store, and a two-family house on Maple with the porch coming off. Everyone in town walks past that pole. You stop. You start walking the lot on Tuesdays, and the Maple house on Sundays. Twice each visit, the way Vern walks. The first walk sees the weeds and the broken porch. The second walk sees a corner lot near the school and a roof that's better than it looks. $10,000, and you've never bought anything new. The auction is September 9th. You've never bid on anything in your life. Level 4. $100,000. The county sells buildings nobody wants for the taxes owed on them. Today, in a courthouse basement that smells like burnt coffee, it sells 2 of them to you. You sit on a folding chair with a cashier's check that took 3 years of lawns and snow. When the condemned lot behind the hardware store comes up, you bid like Vern taught you to lay brick. Slow. Level. Done. Then the two-family house on Maple. Yours too. You're calm at that auction for one reason. Before the auction, Vern walked both properties with you. Twice each. Boots in the weeds. The first walk saw a falling porch. The second walk found the survey stake in the corner, and the drainage line running dry and true. Everyone else saw a wreck from a car window. You walked it again. The family finds out at a cookout in Mom's backyard. Your uncle puts down his plate. 3 years of shoveling snow, and the boy buys a building the county condemned. He says it loud, for the yard. You buried that money in dirt. Mom says you know what you're doing. Her face asks if you do. You can't show them a bank number, because there isn't one anymore. There's a lot full of weeds, and a house with a bad porch. Nobody claps for equity. You move into the Maple house yourself, into the worse unit, the one with the water stain shaped like Ohio. The good unit you rent to Miss Opal, a retired school cook who pays early, in cash, in an envelope with your name in cursive. At 19, you learn what landlord means. It means a phone call at 2 in the morning. It means kneeling on a stranger's bathroom floor with a rented drain snake, in the building you own and can't afford to fix. You fix it anyway. Miss Opal makes you eggs at 3 a.m. You take the trade. Then you walk into the bank on Main Street for a loan, in work boots, and get a no in under 10 minutes. Brenda, the loan officer, reading glasses on a chain, talks to your boots the whole time. She never opens the file. Your classmate's money thinks a weekend ahead. Rims on Friday, ramen by Thursday. You've watched The Hill long enough to know money can think in decades. But banks, it turns out, lend with their eyes. So you come back in 3 weeks dressed like the money already happened. Gray shirt, pressed, boring as a Tuesday. Same file, typed this time, with Miss Opal's rent on page 1. Brenda reads it twice. Brenda says yes. The refinance turns the Maple house into borrowed money at 4%. The paper Vern loves so much starts working. You sign in Brenda's office without your hand shaking. Now the dirt starts buying dirt. Level 5. $1 million. It's just $900. You've got 30 buildings, man. Your cousin's voice fills the truck cab at a red light. You grip the wheel and watch the light. He's not wrong about the buildings. He's wrong about what they mean. 6 doors became 12. 12 became 30. Every rent check goes back into dirt. A roof here, a down payment there. Brenda at the bank, approving them faster each year. On paper, you cross $1 million on a Tuesday in April. You find out from a spreadsheet, alone, in the truck outside a hardware store. Here's the joke nobody tells you about real estate money. You're a millionaire who counts quarters at the car wash. The truck is 15 years old. A beach vacation would cost a roof, and the roof always wins. Rich on paper, broke at the ATM. Every landlord in America knows this feeling. Your family doesn't. Because the asks have started arriving. A cousin needs $900. A friend from school wants a bar funded. Everybody's got a sure thing, and you're the family bank now, and a no from you gets written down somewhere permanent. You find your own answer. No to cash. Yes to shelter. You move mom out of the rental she's been in since you were a kid. She gets the best unit you own. Corner windows. New furnace. She cries in the empty kitchen. You fix her roof yourself that Saturday. Vern comes to help with the roof and hands up shingles slower than he used to. His old work gloves swim on his hands now. You notice. You don't say anything. Neither does Vern. That winter, you see Marcus again, at a bar downtown. Marcus, the heir from the Elms, your age exactly. Porch voice, still working. He's buying a round for the whole room. His card comes back declined. He laughs, hands over a second card, tells the bartender to try it again like it's the machine's fault. Then Marcus spots you at the end of the bar, in work clothes and grins. Still doing lawns? Or did you graduate to gutters? The room chuckles. You raise your glass half an inch and say nothing. 10 years ago, you'd have needed the comeback. Tonight, you know his card declined, and he doesn't know your name is on 30 deeds. Silence is the cheapest thing you own. It's also the heaviest. By spring, the radio says, housing is dying, prices falling, banks scared, everybody selling. Your phone starts ringing with landlords begging out of buildings they bragged about 2 summers ago. You listen to grown men's plans shrink in real time. A year ago, they talked in decades. Now nobody you know can think past next month. Their horizon collapsed to 30 days. Yours didn't move. You call the first number back. You start making offers. Level 6. $10 million. The best year of your life is your town's worst. It's foreclosure winter. Whole blocks go quiet, one moving truck at a time. Houses sell for the price of used cars, and the banks just want them gone. You walk those gutted streets with Vern, who's on a cane now, and pretends it's for the ice. First walk for the damage. Second walk for the bones. Vern still says it at every corner. Walk it again. The deal that changes everything is 12 buildings in one package, from a bank drowning in its own paper. To close it, you pledge everything you own. Every building, every account, even Maple. If this goes wrong, the first house goes with it, and Miss Opal's kitchen belongs to a bank. You sign anyway. Her rent stays frozen. It's been frozen for 6 years. That's not charity. That's the one debt you actually acknowledge. Then the part nobody warns you about. Outside one of the houses you're buying, a family is loading a minivan in the cold. Dad carrying a mattress. A kid on the curb holding a bike with a cable lock. $12 worth, same as yours was. He watches you the way you used to watch Crestwood Hills. You give them 90 days, free, and you pay the building's bills out of pocket while they find their feet. It costs you $4,000. The building will make it back in 2 years. Understand this about the winter you get rich. Kindness at a profit is still profit. You never let it feel clean, because it isn't. Distressed buying has a smell, by the way. Every landlord who worked that winter knows it. It's the smell of a house somebody cried in. You learn it that year. You never unlearn it. In one bank stack of paper, you find a street you know, Crestwood Hills, page after page of borrowed money on houses that were supposed to be above weather, and there, in the middle, the Elms, a second mortgage, 8 years old. They borrowed against a paid-off house, quietly, back around the time the lawn service went bi-weekly. The hedge told you first. The paper just confirms it. You don't say a word to anyone. You put the page back. You remember it. By summer, the 12-building deal is too big for one man's signature. The banks want a real company, partners, accountants, books that close on time. So you build one, in a rented office over the hardware store. Building it eats your nights. And one of those nights is Vern's 75th birthday dinner. You miss it. For a closing, you drive to Vern's porch at midnight with the signed folder, like an apology with a rubber band on it. The porch light is on. Vern opens the door, looks at the folder, looks at you. He hands it back and goes inside. That silence costs more than the 12 buildings made. Level 7. $100 million. Your face is on the front page of the local paper, and the headline calls you the landlord who owns your street. It's not a compliment. The article counts your buildings like charges. Tenants who like you, and there are plenty, won't say so on the record, because defending a landlord out loud costs a person, friends. You read it at the kitchen table in the Maple House, where you still live, in the worst unit, on purpose. The company has become the thing the banks wanted, and then some. This year it becomes a REIT, plain words. The company sells shares, and strangers' pension money buys pieces of your buildings. Teachers you'll never meet now retire on your rent rolls. The kid with the cable lock is somehow a stock ticker. You go the other way, hard. Same 15-year-old truck, khakis. You walk your own properties with a trash grabber, picking up cans, so tenants assume your maintenance. That's not humility. That's camouflage, and it's the oldest money trick on the hill. The richer the man, the harder he is to spot. People tell the maintenance man the truth. They tell the owner what he wants to hear. Then the rule gets a price tag. In the conference room, your partners want to sell the legacy parcels before the shares go public. The old lots, the first buildings, Maple. Flip them, juice the numbers, make the opening price pop. It's good math. Everyone in the room thinks in quarters now. 3-month horizons. You sit there thinking in decades, and to them that looks like sentiment. You say it once flat. The dirt is not for sale. Not Maple, not any of it. A founding partner stands up, calls you a museum curator, and walks. He takes his shares with him. When the company goes public that fall, the shares price low. The rule costs you $40 million in one morning, on a screen, in front of everyone. You keep the rule. That weekend you pick up Vern and drive the fence lines of the newest land, windows down, because Vern can't do the walks anymore. The cane wasn't for the ice. He watches the posts go by and asks one question. You still got Maple? You still got Maple. Vern nods at the windshield. He tells you the biggest landowners in this country are families nobody can name, and they got there by never selling an acre. For the first time, you say the rest out loud, in the truck, where only Vern can hear it. More dirt than any man alive. Vern doesn't laugh. That's how you know it's real. Monday, a distressed package lands on your desk. Half of Crestwood Hills is in it, drowned in its own borrowed money. In stack 3, page 40. The loan on the Elms. Whoever buys this paper collects their payments. Or takes the house. You sign the acquisition. Nobody in the room knows what that address means. You do. Level 8. $1 billion. The default letter is 1 page. The address is the whole story. The Elms has stopped paying. The machine you built handles this 100 times a year without you. Foreclosure filed, eviction scheduled, auction date set. Your asset team preps the file like any other. On the docket, one name you've known since you were 16. Marcus. Here is the cruel option, and it is fully available. You can attend the lockout in person. You can stand on that lawn while the locksmith works and finally give the speech. You've been writing it since you were 16. Decades of drafts about half pay and museum pieces and doors opened 6 inches. All you have to do is show up and say it to his face while the county takes his house. You drive to Crestwood Hills at dawn, not for that. The shed at the Elms isn't locked. Nothing in it is worth stealing anymore. The ancient push mower is still there, the museum piece, oiled once a year by somebody out of habit. You roll it out onto the shaggy, unmowed lawn, and you mow the lawn yourself. Once. Perfect lines, the kind you learned at 16 for $40. Marcus watches from the kitchen window. Older, softer, phone in his hand. He doesn't film anything. Marcus puts the phone down and just watches a billionaire mow his lawn, understanding none of it. Only that the lawn kid came back. You load the mower back in the shed and leave without knocking. That week, your lawyers extend the lease on the Elms at a rent Marcus can actually carry. No meeting, no note, no name he'd recognize on the paperwork. You don't stay to watch him read the letter, and this is the part nobody tells you about revenge. You waited half your life for a bonfire. It files like paperwork. The speech dies in your chest, unspent, and what you feel instead is quiet, like a debt coming off the books. The fight ended years ago. You're the only one who kept training. In April, you take Vern to Maple. He can't really walk anymore, so the last walk is 20 yards of sidewalk on your arm, past the porch you fixed at 19. Vern stops at the property line stake and stands there a long time. I was scared back then, Vern says. Scared that hill would teach you to hate people. He pats your hand on his arm. It just taught you to look. You want to answer. Nothing you own is the right size. Vern dies in the spring, in his sleep, 4 blocks from Maple. In the garage after the funeral, on the workbench, his duct-taped gloves, and under the gloves, a folded paper, a map, hand-drawn in pencil, of every parcel you two ever walked. Each one dated, in Vern's blocky Mason handwriting, going back to a dusk walk in Crestwood Hills. He kept the map his whole life. You never once saw him draw it. Level 9. $100 billion. A week after the funeral, you're back in Vern's garage, with the framed 1911 deed under your arm. You took it off your own wall. It's been 30 years since you pulled it out of a trash pile, and it's riding in a billionaire's truck like a passenger. The number is real now, and it's boring. $100 billion in land, and you can't see any of it from the road. Timber, ranch land, city blocks, ground under other men's towers. The biggest private landowner in America drives a truck with a bench seat and works out of the same office over the hardware store. You look like the guy who checks sprinkler heads. That's still on purpose. In the garage, you say the cruel option out loud, to nobody. Courier the deed to the Elms. No note. Marcus would know. He'd hold the paper his family threw out, and finally understand who owns the ground under his kitchen. You hear how small it sounds in an empty garage. Instead, you hang the deed on the wall, over Vern's workbench, above the pencil map, above the duct-taped gloves, the paper that started the idea, over the paper that walked it, the frame from their trash, hanging in a mason's garage, worth nothing, watching everything. Miss Opal still lives in the good unit at Maple, 91 years old, rent frozen at the old number. She still pays early, in an envelope, your name in cursive. You'd sooner sell your own name than that kitchen. That afternoon, you sign a ground lease. A company rents your dirt for 99 years to build on. Your lawyer points out, gently, that the lease outlives you. You sign it smiling. It's the first date on your calendar that falls after your own funeral, and it's the whole point. Mom's math ran Friday to Friday. Yours runs past the headstone. Because old money was never the houses. It was never the pool or the porch voice. It was the length of the thought. Those families could afford to think in centuries, and everyone you grew up with could only afford to think in weekends. You grew up broke and stole the one thing on that hill worth stealing. The horizon. At dusk, you drive out to the newest parcel. Open ground, no buildings, fence posts going soft in the light. You walk it once, boots in the weeds, the way you've walked every piece of ground since you were 16. At the far corner you stop. There's nobody on your arm, nobody testing the dirt with his thumbs, nobody to nod, which was always the parade. You say it anyway, out loud, to 1,100 acres of nobody. Walk it again. And you do.